for a long time, and then I haven't gone now in about 12, 13 years. So I was thinking about maybe going in February.
Okay. And where do you see the difference between surfing and snowboarding? How do you see the fun element in both sports?
Um, I remember the first time I snowboarded, I was 18. I had skied before that a few times, but I went snowboarding for the first time, and my brain couldn't get around the fact of the steepness of the mountain, because when we surf, the wave's chasing you. And so, like, in my mind, I'm sort of imagining surfing. And, we're always, if we're taking off on a big wave, we're always trying to get away from the wave. And, to me, like, in my mind, the mountain wants to chase me down, or like, that's how I felt the first time I snowboarded. But, they're sort of different in surfing. Obviously everything's moving, the wave's moving. And when you turn the board, you're turning off the fins, which is more on the tail of the board. In snowboarding, you're kind of turning the tail around the center point a little more. Yeah, there's some obvious similarities, but some definite big differences as well.
Well, one day we would like to welcome you in Switzerland and to show you our Swiss mountains.
I would love to come.
So that you can enjoy the Swiss snow. But I've heard you're also a great golfer. I mean, we all know that. You've even been golfing with Barack Obama last week. So what kind of other sports do you do besides surfing? So
yeah,
golfing.
I play a lot of golf. Yeah, as you said, I had the chance to play with Barack Obama last week. He's really good friends with one of my really good friends, and that friend has been trying to set that game up for a few years, and it just so happens Barack's living in Hawaii a lot now.
Who won?
Well, let's just say I paid him $10 at the end of the round. we ended up playing. We played a round, and I was actually ahead on the bets. But we were in groups of two. It was me and one of his friends against him and another friend of his, and we won the original bet, and then we continued and played another 9 holes. We all love golf, all of us who were out there, and we just didn't want to stop because the course was open, and we didn't have anywhere to be. So we just played. We ended up playing 27 holes, and we had a chance. They took over the bet on the back 9, and we had a chance to catch up on the last hole and missed a couple putts. But I've also been played with Charles Howell III last week, who's become a good friend of mine. All the golfers were in town. All the Sony Open was here. So Adam Scott stayed here at my house 2 nights ago, and he wanted to come surf, but the surf got kind of bad. I've known Adam for quite a long time, but he's really close with one of my best friends here. So he always makes his way out here and gets a day or two of surfing. Just on a side note, that good friend of mine who lives here, his name is Benji. Benji and Adam are good friends. They travel and go do a lot of things around the world together. Benji won a bet off Adam one night. I don't know. I think they were out and they made some silly bet. And my friend said, okay, if I win this bet, I get the caddy for you at the Sony Open next year. And so Adam lost the bet. My friend got the caddy for Adam out here. This is going back about 4 or 5 years now, but Benji got the caddy for him here at the Sony Open, which was a fun thing.
Great. Tell us about your days. I mean, are you surfing every morning or every day, or how can we imagine a day of Kelly Slater?
Well, I have a house here, and I was just gone for about 10 months. And so when you get back, you can imagine a house on the beach. There's a lot of work to do. So there's just a lot of things here and there I got to clean up. So, but mornings I wake up and I generally check the surf. If it's good, I'll try and go surf somewhere. If not, I'll do some stuff around the house and try to clean up on the stuff that hasn't been done all year. And besides that, I'll find a game of golf. A lot of my friends like to golf.
Oh, okay. Especially for European colleagues listening to us this evening, tell us a little bit how you started to become a surfer. I mean, when did you start surfing? When did you realize that you have this phenomenal talent? And in a way, what are the qualities of a good surfer? I know that I'm a bad surfer because I have zero talent. I experienced it on your phenomenal surf farm. But tell us about the talents a surfer should have to be successful.
Well, you have to have a lot of time. That's the first part, and
Ah,
I think you didn't start surfing until he was about 39 or 40 years old, and he fell really in love with it, and it became a daily routine for him for many years. Um, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I have good balance. Maybe I could surf." There's so much more than balance that's involved, you know, because our platform's moving. The waves are constantly moving. I think probably the most important thing early on in surfing is to learn to read the ocean, understand the patterns of waves, um, where they break, how they break, the speed, that sort of thing. So it's most important to figure out how to line yourself up and catch the wave. Um, Besides that, it just takes quite a lot of time because, sorry, I'm just moving my phone here to make sure you get my sound right. Yeah, it just takes a lot of time, like anything. You know, I also love jiu-jitsu, but I don't have a whole lot of time for it. But I watch a lot on YouTube and Instagrams and Instagram accounts. I have a lot of friends who do jiu-jitsu and surf. A lot of the top guys in the world love to surf, but I just follow and watch all of them. So I think with surfing, to get better, you same kind of thing as me as a fan of jiu-jitsu, you have to watch a lot also and understand how the body works in relation to the board and the wave. And you know, geographical proximity to the ocean is an important one. But
yeah.
as you said, we are starting to build you know, wave pools, surf technology around the world, and that changes the game. I think in 5 years or 10 years from now, you'll start to see that there's going to be some surfers that are good that didn't grow up in the ocean. They learned maybe in some kind of a pool or a man-made wave, and they'll have to figure out how to transition that into the ocean.
Yeah. And so, do you plan other surf ranches beside the one in LA?
We don't. Well, we did buy property in Texas. It was a different wave technology, and
Yeah.
KS Wave even guess because it can be a little frustrating when it's kind of your baby and you want it to be out there for more people. But that one hasn't happened yet. There's another one, a private one, being built pretty soon in the Coachella Valley, Palm Springs area. But yeah, I see it as something I want to work on for the rest of my life because I think it's exciting and people love it. And the idea that you can, you know, especially once you surf, um, the idea that you could just book in a time and go surf somewhere and you know exactly what you're going to get. That's pretty exciting for surfers. It's kind of like a skate ramp for skaters,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you know, a mountain for snowboarders or skiers.
Sure. Sure. Well, and when are we going to be able to listen to your first album? I mean, you're a musician, you're playing guitar, you're singing.
Well,
Any plans
I actually
to publish
I made
something?
an album. He started playing guitar probably 30, 40 years ago, and he was in a band called Dakota Motor Company before. I think the thing was we all had really stark influences that were very different from each other. So um, it probably wasn't exactly the right combination for a band, um, but we learned to play together, and that was kind of the thing. We learned to play together. We started writing songs together. But like PK was really heavily influenced by the Ramones, and Rob was really heavily influenced by Bob Marley and Jimi Hendrix. And I probably liked a little bit more like some pop music, but then I also had like influence from country when I was a kid, and Jimmy Buffett and stuff like that. My parents listened to Van Morrison. So we had a real varied taste in the sound we liked. But, you know, we still get together here and there and play a little music together. I'm around Peter a lot, so he and I, he's always throwing a guitar in my hand, and he films for the WSL, does little things for Instagram and stuff. But yeah, I kind of have, I have the idea in my head to do another album. And Karina, a girl named Karina, a Brazilian singer, and we ran in the studio and recorded one of my songs a few years ago called "Feeling the Feelings," and you can find that online somewhere.
Okay, we'll check it out. How is now the season? I mean, are you still going on tour? Are you still going on competitions? And how is the season going on now with the whole coronavirus? How does it work?
Yeah, we basically missed it last year. We didn't have a tour. We only had one. Well, you could say we had 2 events in the past year for the. So we started our year at Pipeline here in Hawaii at the end of 2020, with the winner being John Florence, who's 2-time world champion. His last world title was 2 years ago, I think, and I think he won 2 years in a row. But so he's kind of leading the charge now. I got 3rd in that, and my plan was to be on tour this year, but we've had our 2nd event, which would be Sunset Beach, canceled, unfortunately, and then we have another event. We had another event planned in Santa Cruz at Steamer Lane, and that got canceled for early February. So as of now, our next event would be at Bells Beach in Australia in April, beginning or middle of April.
But so in other words, you want to be on the tour this year, and you will be on the tour as much as possible.
That's my plan, but you know, that could change. I mean, I think all of us have to take a step back with COVID and what happened, and no matter what your beliefs are on this thing, because I see a lot of crazy theories out there, but I think it's a good time for all of us to take a step back and see how life and the world and society has changed, and see what that means for each of us. Does that mean a change in direction for your job? Does that mean a different place you want to live, or that you can live because you can work remotely? Do you have to check your finances? You know, all these different things. But I think there's a spiritual element to that too. But I'm definitely looking at the message in that for me around work and career and what I want to do. It almost seems like I've been really thinking about retiring for a few years, and it's almost like it's delaying, and give me some time to really think. Okay, do I want to keep chasing this thing or not? And we'll see. But my brother's pushing me. He wants me to go till I'm 50, and I'll be 49 next month. So maybe I'll have it. I had a good start.
That would be great. And I like your shirt.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you recognize that logo.
Yes.
So we are both wearing Autoknown. So tell us about that brand, when you had the idea, what you want to reach with that brand, and how do you feel with the development until now?
Well, with the advent of social media, I got really active on Twitter, and I became very interested in the message around clothing, the production of clothing, the effect on the environment, all those sort of things, and also maybe more importantly, the factory working conditions, slave labor, if you will, those kind of things. Those became sort of big passions of mine, and it was easy to access that information via social media. So it just became this sort of rabbit hole I went down, and and was very interested in about 2010. But I had been for quite a while because I had a clothing brand, a clothing label I had made with my old sponsor, Quicksilver. And we were able to work on some design and some ideas, going like kind of a different direction, a little more of a premium brand with Quicksilver. And eventually they ran into a lot of hardships around the business, and my 24-year relationship with Quicksilver ran its course. And at the end of that, I decided that I wanted to work on making a brand that was socially compliant with the factories and the working conditions, and also build clothing, produce clothing with more environmentally friendly products and textiles, fabrics. So those were kind of the two principles we put into the brand. And it wasn't necessarily a hardcore surf brand. It was more of like inspired by surfing, but we wanted to make nice clothes that people sort of cherished and wanted to wear for a long time, something more timeless.
But how much are you involved in the design, and how much do you choose the product or the style, or is that really your design or your thinking?
I'm not in making the clothes myself. You know, I'm not necessarily designing everything, but I have approval on everything. If there's something I really hate or something I really love, we focus on either changing that or continuing that. But yeah, I have input on all the seasons and all the clothes that are coming out and that kind of thing. But I'm not in actively designing. That's not my forte. I'm not going to come and try to do that better than someone who's much better than me at it.
So you're okay with my shirt?
I am. Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
I approve.
That's great. And I'm wearing here a Super Ocean with an auto-known Econil strap.
Yes.
So
as am I.
that's great. Here we are. You're wearing the 57.
Yep.
That's great. So the Econil, for everybody listening to us, is basically recycled nylon. There's 650,000 tons of fishing nets lost in the oceans per year. It's incredible to think about that. And these fishing nets are recycled to produce Econil. And a couple of companies out there are using that material. And we've started with you, Caddy, and with your team to work on these straps. I'm wearing the blue one. You have on your one the brown with many colors, and people love it, and they love the story. And it's quite we have, of course, we have your logo, so we talk a lot about you in when we sell our products.
Nice.
So what is your commitment towards oceans and you know, and the drama basically also with plastic in the oceans we are all living, and thank you for being involved with Ocean Conservancy, cleaning the beaches. You have been extremely helpful. So what is your thinking about all that?
Well, I appreciate you guys working alongside with the Ocean Conservancy too, and including them. I've worked with them in the past, and it was important for me to send some kind of a message out with whatever we did together around environmental concerns. Obviously, the Econil strap it's a nice message and a nice story. As you said, they're collecting tons and tons and tons of old fishing nets off the seafloor, which basically just trap sea life and kill it. Otherwise, it's being brought into the factories in Slovenia and respun into nylon 6 and then reformulated into different products. So we've used it for surf trunks and for different tops, jackets, those sort of things. And it's become a nice story. And as you said, a lot of other brands have also jumped ship from whatever they were using before and started to use it because the story behind it and the message it sends out to the world. And you know, sometimes it's about planting a seed, and obviously a watch strap is not going to change the environment as a whole, but the message that about a month ago, and they were in Ocean City, Maryland, which is a place my mom used to spend a lot of time when I was a kid. And we started to talk about cleaning the beaches, playing music, you know, focusing on your schoolwork, all those sort of things. And the teacher, a couple weeks later, she got back to me. She goes, "You'll never guess what happened." She goes, "4 of the students have now started to learn ukulele." And she goes, "I think that'll be more by the time we finish the year." And then they also did beach cleanup, and they've been working on a few different things we talked about. So, you know, it's really the young kids. It's getting that message out to younger people that are going to be the ones changing the world and running the world as we get old and they need to take care of us.
Yeah, no, I'm happy that you say that. This is a little bit also to talk a little bit about brightening our philosophy. We cannot change and save the world. We're too small for that. But we have roughly 200,000 influential clients buying our products every year. Yep. And the message we bring to them through our involvement with you, with Autonon, with Ocean Conservancy, also with other charities like Quebec and South Africa, I think that is important. And these people have influence, have power, and we reach them with a beautiful product they actually enjoy, and they have themselves started to tell about pollution of the oceans, etc. Which leads me to the next subject, Kelly, is talking about watches. What I found out with you, because we've been discussing a lot about watches, we've done the first execution on the Super Ocean Heritage, a blue one. This is the Super Ocean 1957. It's basically the a kind of a re-edition of the product we did in 1957.
Yeah.
But what I know is that you prefer smaller watches.
I do.
You prefer smaller diameters.
Yeah.
So tell us about your taste of watches, and tell us about the hard time you're giving me to produce limited series for you.
I'm trying to make it easy for you. I mean, you only had to go back to 1957, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is great. I love this size. But yeah, I do prefer a smaller diameter, as you said, just because when we surf, you feel that weight and you feel that thing on your arm, just with the water going over you and stuff. And if you wipe out, you don't want something, you know, some of the surf we're in is pretty big and powerful. Just 3 days ago, we were in surf that was probably up to 60 feet or more. So, you know, when something with that amount of speed and energy hits you, it's going to rip everything off your body. So you need as minimal as possible, especially when we compete. You know, when you're competing, you just want something small and sleek. You don't want anything you're thinking about. You don't want to have to be distracted by anything. So that's part of it for me.
Yeah, and the watch you wear, it's basically, it has a brown dial, and the first one we did was dark blue, was a dark blue strap.
Yep.
Do you have a most preferred color? Are there colors you really like? By the way, not only for your watches, but also for your brand.
Yeah, I do really like blues. In our brand, I really like the blue. Any of the blue stuff we do. That's actually why I'm wearing this. But I think my favorite color has always been green for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
So meaning that the next watch we're going to do for you will be green. It has to be green.
I was just planting that seed with you.
Okay, I got it. I
don't know. Maybe as a kid I heard the term Kelly green and I started to like the color green.
Okay, so let's create a special green for you and call it Kelly green.
Well, yeah, I think there is one they call Kelly green in English, you know. So I don't know.
Oh, okay. Again, I mean, it's quite incredible to come back on surfing. You have been 11 times world champion. In a way, I was just thinking when you mentioned that your brother wants to push you to be a surfer even next year when you will turn 50. It reminds me Roger Federer. You know, we had Switzerland,
yep.
And I think Roger is going to turn 40 sometimes.
Yeah.
but in a way they get better and better, and they still, I mean, experience or an incredible talent makes these people and these unique talents competing at the highest level. How do you explain that you're still so fit and that you can compete with basically people who could be your children?
Yeah, there's one guy I've competed against whose dad is younger than me that I competed against him. But look, I think there's no reason, if you look, how do I say this? I always have kind of had this idea in my mind that surfing is like a martial art. You know, it's a skill, and you can add layers and layers and layers of that. And if you look at the highest rated, say, martial artists in the world, they don't get a lower rating as they get older. You should get better. There shouldn't be any chinks in the armor, right? You should be able to layer it with better and better and better things. It's just learning that skill properly each time. And you know, if you got to go back and like fix something up and get back to a deeper layer and fix it up. Yeah, I think Tiger Woods is a perfect example. If you look at his swing over the years, he made a lot of changes, and it may have been pretty simple at first, and then he started to have like a really kind of complex, more of a complex swing. You can see all the different things he was putting in there, but it worked because he understood each layer of it and the purpose for it. And with surfing, I think of it like that, whether it's my body or equipment or how I compete, the approach I'm taking to surfing, learning you know, there's always going to be a change and a new skill and a new style and approach of surfing. So that's, I think, the hard thing to keep up with, because your mind is in a certain way. You have to have an open mind and have enough humility to realize that things could be done in maybe a better or a different way than you think is right. And just, if nothing else, just acknowledge that and look at it. You don't have to chase that, but be open to seeing that and understanding it.
Yeah. I have a last question. During confinement and lockdown here in Switzerland, I've been watching, probably more than I should have, Netflix. And I watched that documentary, probably the best sports documentary ever, on Michael Jordan. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it.
Seen it.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really, really great.
Absolutely incredible. And it shows in a way why Michael was so successful, his state of mind. What are the sports stars you admire? What are your role models? Are there any are you fan of somebody?
Yeah, I am. I'm not like I appreciate different sports. Obviously, Federer, who I've met, I can't say I know him very well, but we've spent a brief amount of time around each other. I've been influenced by him because of his longevity and his cool temperament, and how long he's been doing it. I played tennis as a kid, and so I've always had an admiration for tennis and the skill that goes into it. I played all different sports, football, baseball, etc., all growing up. You may or may not follow American football, but I was a big football fan as a kid, and I was a huge fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And and funny enough, Tom Brady now is a quarterback for them. And yesterday, the day before, they played the New Orleans Saints with Drew Brees. And funny enough, Brady and Brees are both friends of mine. And both those guys have had a really long career now, beyond what people thought they would do. But they're taking care of themselves, and they got a good mindset. So both those guys are definite influences. For me, I really enjoy watching what they do and their approach, the words they use, you know, the way they treat people, all those kind of things. Tiger has been a big influence for me over the years, because I started playing golf just before he really came on the scene, a year or two before he turned professional. And so my whole career I've been watching Tiger, and there's been all the other guys who've come along, the Ernie Ellis's and the Phil Mickelson's and you know, Adam Scott and all these guys who have challenged, and now the guys who are, you know, Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, John Rahm, all these amazing players now. And I've been fortunate enough to play golf with all of those guys at some point, and because I love golf so much and I love the competitive nature and pushing yourself so much, that it's really been fun to kind of be a fly in the wall around that. And,
what is your handicap, if I may ask?
I'm around scratch. I'm probably like a 1 or less at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Play a lot of golf.
Wow.
And then jiu-jitsu.
Another career in front of you.
I'm also heavily influenced by jiu-jitsu. I have a lot of friends who are jiu-jitsu world champions and some of the best guys in the world. Marcus Buchecha, the Gracie family, Hickson and Hoyce and Hoyler, and all the Cron Gracie, the Mendez brothers in California, Andre Galvao, all these different guys. So I'm really a big fan of jiu-jitsu and also of MMA. So a lot of those things take up my time, not necessarily doing them so much, but watching and being a fan of.
Thank you very much, Caddy Slater. It has been amazing. Half an hour is already gone, and we're done with that talk. It has been a real pleasure. It's always a pleasure seeing you and listening to you. It's very inspirational, and I think everybody appreciated getting all these insights from you. Enjoy your time in Hawaii. Looking forward as soon as possible to see you again in person.
Here's my pose. I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do this nonchalant pose.
Yes, please. And I'm not hiding your logo here, so we have the 2 greatest logos on Earth on screen, with the greatest surfer of all times wearing them.
Hey, thanks so much. It's been great to talk to you, and I look forward to getting you into Surf Ranch again and get you up on some waves. We'll go live then.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Caddy Slater.
All right.
Thanks
so much. Talk to you soon.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks.